Dear students, let's begin our today's class with a very beautiful quote. Biology gives you a brain. Life turns it into a mind. By Jeffrey Eugenides. So try to think about this quote and tell me what you have found out. Students, our today's class is on the topic Kingdom Protista, its type, and some related aspects, as we have studied in the case of Kingdom Monera also. In today's class, let's start at first with the general characteristics of the Kingdom Protista. The general characteristics of Protista are as follows. They are unicellular, eukaryotic, and microscopic in nature. So this is the first characteristic, that all the members of the Kingdom Protista, they will be unicellular in their body structure. Eukaryotic, that means they have a true membrane-bound nucleus in their cell structure, and they are mostly microscopic in nature. That means we cannot see them with our naked eye. These Protista, they are mainly aquatic organisms, and therefore they are found in sea, freshwater, and moist soil. And they are also generally called as planktons. The next characteristic is the cells are well formed with cell membrane and may contain outer covering of pellicle, cuticle, shell, or cellulose wall. They have cell wall, and cell wall is followed by the cell membrane. Here a very important point is that the cell wall, it is made up of different substances, such as when they are made up of some proteins, then it is called as pellicle. When it is made up of a fatty substance called cutin, it is called as cuticle. If it is made up of a hard calcareous shell, then it is called as shell. And if it is made up of cellulose like that of a plant cell, then it is called a cellulose cell wall. So different kind of Protista, they bears different outer coverings. The next characteristic is that the cell organelles like mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, etc. are present. These are all well developed cell organelles which are mostly found in case of an eukaryotic cell. Nutrition of these Protista are mostly autotrophic and heterotrophic, that is heterotrophic saprophyte or heterotrophic parasite in nature. So there are various modes of nutrition in case of these members of Protista. They have cilia and flagella for locomotion, and both asexual and sexual reproduction is found in case of the Protistans. I hope the first character it is clear to all of you. এতিয়া আমি সেকেন্ড ক্যারেক্টারটোলে আহো আকো আমি জানো যে এটা সেলত বাহিৰৰ যেটো ওয়াল হয় হেখনক কোৱা হয় সেল ওয়াল আৰু সেল ওয়ালখনৰ নেক্সটতে থাকে সেল মেমব্ৰেন এতে সেল ওয়ালখন যেতিয়া বেলেগ বেলেগ মেটেৰিয়েলৰ পৰা যেতিয়া বনোৱা হয় তেতিয়া তাৰ নামও বেলেগ বেলেগ হয় তো ইয়াত এতিয়া এই প্ৰটিষ্টান্স বিলাকত জেনাৰেলি এটো দেখা যায় যে সেল ওয়ালখন বেলেগ বেলেগ মেটেৰিয়েলৰ পৰা ফৰ্ম হৈছে যেনেকে যদি হি প্ৰটিনৰ পৰা যদি ফৰ্ম হৈছে তেতিয়া আমি তাক কম পেলিকল যদি কিউটিন নিচিনা লিপিডছৰ পৰা যদি ফৰ্ম হৈছে তেতিয়া আমি তাক কম কিউটিকল যদি হি এনেকুৱা হাৰ্ড ক্যালকেৰিয়াছ মানে ক্যালসিয়াম ডিপজিট থকা মেটেৰিয়েলৰ পৰা যদি হৈছে তেতিয়া আমি তাক কম শেল আৰু প্লান্ট সেলৰ নিচিনা আমি তাক হলে কম সেলুলোজ তাৰ পিছৰ পইণ্টটো আহিলে যে সেল অৰ্গেনেলিজ বিলাক হৈছে inner compartments of a cell য'ত কিছুমান স্পেশাল ফাংশনস হৈ থাকে যেনেকে মাইটোকন্ড্ৰিয়া আছে ভিতৰত মাইটোকন্ড্ৰিয়াৰ তাৰ কামটো হৈছে এটিপি প্ৰডাকশন গোলগি অ্যাপাৰেটাছৰ কামটো হৈছে কিছুমান কাৰ্বোহাইড্ৰেটস সিনথেসাইজ কৰে সেলটোৰ ভিতৰত তেনেকে ৰাইবোজোমছৰ কাম হৈছে প্ৰটিন সিনথেসিস কৰা এই যিবিলাক সেলৰ ভিতৰত থকা কম্পাৰ্টমেন্ট হয় সেই সেলৰ কম্পাৰ্টমেন্ট বিলাকক কওঁ আমি সেল অৰ্গেনেলি বুলি আৰু ইউক্যাৰিওটিক সেলৰ ভিতৰত সেল অৰ্গেনেলি থকাটো এটা কমন ক্যাৰেক্টাৰ হয় নিউট্ৰিশন অটোট্ৰপিক তাৰ মানে তাহাঁতি নিজেই ফুড বনাব পাৰে সেপ্ৰোফাইটিক হ'ব যেতিয়া তাহাঁতি ডেড এণ্ড ডিকেইং অৰ্গেনিক মেটাৰৰ পৰা ফুড লয় আৰু প্যাৰাসাইটিক হ'ব যেতিয়া কোনো লিভিং হোষ্টৰ পৰা ফুড লয় এতিয়া আহো সিলিয়া আৰু ফ্লেজেলা সিলিয়া এণ্ড ফ্লেজেলা হৈছে কিছুমান লোকোমোটৰী অৰ্গান সিলিয়া বিলাক শৰ্ট হেয়াৰ লাইক হয় আৰু ফ্লেজেলা বিলাক লং ফাইবাৰ লাইক হয় আৰু এআই প্ৰতিষ্ঠানছ বিলাকক এফালৰ পৰা ইফালে বা মুভমেন্ট কৰিবলৈ কাৰণে হেল্প কৰে হেতু কাৰণে তাহাঁতক লোকোমোটৰী অৰ্গান বুলি কোৱা হয় আৰু লাষ্ট পইণ্টটো আহিলে ৰিপ্ৰডাকশন both asexual and sexual reproduction is found in case of the protistans. Protista are divided into three major groups. Those are photosynthetic protist, consumer decomposer protist, and animal-like protist. This kingdom, it is made of different types of organisms as it bears the common character that is unicellular body structure and eukaryotic cell structure. Therefore, different kind of organisms of plant origin or sometimes consumer decomposers and some are of animal characters. So, on the basis of that, it is divided into three major types. So, here we are going to discuss about the general characteristics of these three types of protists along with their examples and their economic importance. Photosynthetic protists are again divided into three types: dinoflagellates, chrysophytes, and euglenoids. Now, let's at first see what are dinoflagellates. Dinoflagellates. This is the first group of photosynthetic protists. Dinoflagellates, they are also regarded as phytoplanktons and they are mostly found in the seabed or in the ocean bed. Therefore, most of them are marine. And such marine dinoflagellates are Goniolus and Gymnodinium. Here, a very important point to be kept in mind is that their general characteristics, that is unicellular body, eukaryotic nature, the presence of all the cell organelles, so that will be same in case of the other protistans as well with these dinoflagellates. But they have some diagnostic features or some distinguishing features. And such distinguishing features are that the cell wall here it is made up of rigid coat. So in the first diagram that you can see there that there are some separate scale or plate-like structures and these plate-like structures that is called as the theca which is made up of a material which is carbohydrate in nature and it is called the cellulose. Cellulose that is also the material which makes the plant cell wall. So here they form small patches or plates over the unicellular body. Therefore, it is called as the theca. Along with that, the nutrition type here it is photosynthetic in nature. As they are autotrophic, they have the photosynthetic mode of nutrition. And here the two important pigments for the purpose of photosynthesis are chlorophyll A and chlorophyll C. Similarly, the reserve food material in case of such organisms or cells, it is in the form of starch and they also store some kind of oil. Now let's come to the economic importance. Economic importance of the dinoflagellates, it is because of it is their bioluminescent property. Bioluminescence, it means that these biological materials, they emit light, as we have the luminescent light. So here many of the biological organisms such as earthworm, cows, dogs, etc., when in dark, their eyes as it shines in the dark. Similarly, these unicellular organisms, they also shines in the dark, and they are generally food for many marine shell fishes. So here let me show you a sea near China where there is lots of a dinoflagellate, which is Noctiluca, which gives us aesthetic beauty near the sea as it emits light because of their bioluminescent property. This is the microscopic view of the species of Noctiluca, which is a dinoflagellate, and it gives us a shining effect. So here comes the sea near China, which shines in the dark. So this is due to the bioluminescent property of such dinoflagellates. And the most important point to be kept in mind in case of dinoflagellates is that they have their motile organ as the flagella. So that is also a very important property or characteristics of the dinoflagellates. The next group of the photosynthetic protists are the chrysophytes. So chrysophytes have the diagnostic features as they are non-flagellated, that means they do not have flagella, and occurs in marine habitat, mostly in marine habitat, and sometimes in moist terrestrial habitat, that means they can live on land in moist or wet soil also. The next important point to be kept in mind is that the body, it is covered by a transparent layer of silica in the cell wall. So silica, it is an organic material, and the layering of the silica, it takes place above the cell wall. And this layering, it is of two types, that is epitheca and hypotheca. Epitheca, that means it is towards the upper part or upper covering, and hypotheca, that is towards the lower covering. Next important point to be kept in mind is the chloroplast. Now chloroplast, it is yellowish brown in color, and it contains the pigments as chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, and fucoxanthin. So chlorophyll A and chlorophyll C, they are green in color. So that imparts a green color to the cell body. But this fucoxanthin, it is brown in color, and that is why the combination is yellowish brown or greenish brown. Therefore, they looks like yellowish brown or greenish brown structures. Then comes the reserve food material. So here it is in the form of oils, and the reserve food material is slightly different than that of the dinoflagellate. This is leucocene. So in the diagram you can see two species here. One is navicula and the another one is spinularia. The economic importance of chrysophytes are generally, these chrysophytes, they are also called as diatoms, and these diatoms is used in the filtration of sugar, alcohol, syrups, and antibiotics. So they generally occurs in clusters in the ocean bed or in the sea bed, and these are used as filtering agent in the sugar industry, alcohol industry, while filtering syrups and antibiotics. So it is also added to paints for night visibility. As I have said that generally the photosynthetic proteins such as dinoflagellates and chrysophytes, they both possesses bioluminescent property. So here also they are added to paints for night visibility or for night shine in order to have a very good effect of our house paints. Also, it is a good indicator of pollution. Then the next important economic importance, it is that it is employed as insulating material in refrigerator, broilers and furnaces. So some important species are Navicula and Pinularia. I hope that these points are clear to all of you. So generally the economic importance, it is important here. Now next come to the third type of photosynthetic protist, and these are euglenoids. The next type of photosynthetic protist are the euglenoids. The euglenoids, they are unicellular body with flagella, and therefore it is called as flagellate, but without cellulosic cell wall. So these euglenoid flagellates are the most interesting organisms that have a mixture of both plant and animal characteristic. Now what is the animal characteristic here? That animals, they do not possess cell wall. So these euglena, they also do not possess cell wall. Now let's see what is the plant characteristic here. The body, it is covered by a pellicle which is composed of a fibrous elastic protein and small amount of fats. So as I have said that pellicles, they are covering, or this particular layer, it is made up of protein. So this is another important feature. Now the plant feature in case of euglena or euglenoids, it is that they possess chlorophyll pigments in the chloroplast, or in very simple words we can say that they possess chloroplast and they are photosynthetic in nature. And the chloroplast, it bears two photosynthetic pigment, that is chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. But the reserve food material, it is different from that of a plant cell, and here the reserve food material is paramylom. And the reproduction, it is generally by longitudinal binary fission. So here a very important point to be kept in mind, it is that these are the connecting link between the plants and the animals, as euglenoids, they have both the features of plants and animals. The plant features is the presence of the chlorophyll pigments in the chloroplast, and the animal features is the absence of a cell wall. Otherwise, the rest of the characteristics, that is the reproduction, it is generally asexual, and asexual type, that is the binary fission one. Then the body is covered with pellicle which is made up of the fibrous elastic protein. So these are quite the same structures as we have found in case of the general characters in case of all the protistans. And here some of the important members, these are one of the species, it is euglena, then comes Fucus, Paranema, Distigma, etc. They do not generally have any kind of economic importance. Now let's come to the next important group of protists, that is the consumer decomposer protists, which are also called as myxomycetes. So they are somewhat different than that of the photosynthetic protist in the following characters. They do not have chlorophyll. As they do not have chlorophyll, so they cannot prepare their own food. They are surrounded by plasma membrane only. That means they do not have the cell wall, and mostly the vegetative or the somatic cells. Now what are vegetative or somatic cells? The parts or cells of the body other than the gametes, that means the sex cells. These are called as vegetative or somatic cells. So these vegetative or somatic cells, they are without cell wall, and therefore these cells are also called as plasmodium. They are also called the slime molds. Mold, that means fungi. And as they do not have the cell wall, so they have a slimy appearance. So that is why they are called the slime molds, because of their occurrence in decaying vegetation on lawns and fields. They have phagotropic or saprophytic nutrition. That means they are generally heterotrophs and they are feed upon dead and decaying organic matter. Now, they have both asexual and sexual mode of reproduction. That means asexual, that means they do not form any kind of gamete, and sexual reproduction means they forms the gamete, that is the male and a female gamete. So here in case of them, they have both the asexual and sexual mode of reproduction. An asexual mode of reproduction also takes place by the formation of spores. That is, they produce spores within a structure which is called a sporangia. The slime molds resembles both protozoa and the true fungi. As we know that the slime molds, they are heterotrophic in their nutrition. Therefore, they causes death and decomposition of the organic matter in the soil. So in the diagram here, so you can see that they are generally born on the dead organic part, either that is a dead bog or near the leaves which have started decaying, or they can be any kind of waste of the living organisms. So they creep over the ornamental plants and make them very ugly. So this is another very important features in case of the consumer decomposer protist or the slime molds. And in that they imparts different colors. As you can see in the diagram, that they imparts different colors. So that also gives them a artistic view. And this slime molds, as they do not have the cell wall, so their plasmodium, it is a very excellent material to study the protoplasm of a cell. So that is why the slime molds or the consumer decomposer protist, they are taken as specimen material in order to study the protoplasm of a cell. Now let's come to the next major group of protists, that is the animal-like protist. The first group of the animal-like protists or the protozoan protists are the flagellate protozoans. That means they have the diagnostic feature that they possess flagella for locomotion, and they may be in the form of free living, or they can be parasite or commensal. Commensal here means that they may be in a non-benefited condition with some other living organism, or they can be in the form of symbionts, that is in a mutual relationship with some other organisms. So generally these are also called as zooflagellates, and these zooflagellates, they bears only one nucleus, that is uninucleate, and occasionally they can be multinucleate. So body, it is covered by a foam pellicle, so that is the same characteristic. The nutrition, it is holozoic, saprobic and parasitic, and asexual reproduction is by binary fission. So here are some examples of flagellated protozoans. The members of the zooflagellates are Trypanosoma, Giardia and Leishmania, and these are very much known for their disease-causing nature. That is, Giardia, it causes a disease which is called as giardiasis. Trypanosoma causes a disease which is called as sleeping sickness, and Leishmania donovani, it causes a sickness which is called as kala ajar or black fever. So the species under this flagellated protozoans or zooflagellates, they are of economic importance to us. The next group under the animal-like protist is the amoeboid protozoans. The amoeboid protozoans are with the characters that they develop pseudopodia for locomotion and also therefore are called the sarcodines. So they do not have flagella here, but they have pseudopodia or false feet for the purpose of locomotion and also to engulf the food material. The sarcodines, they are mostly free living or found in freshwater, seawater and on damp soils. The body, it is covered with shell, that is a hard calcareous matter. The nutrition is commonly holozoic, that is they engulf food articles. They do not eat it, they generally engulf it, and this mode of nutrition, it is called as phagocytic nutrition. So they are also generally uninucleate, and the asexual reproduction takes place by binary fission and multiple fission. Budding and spore formation along with sexual reproduction also takes place in case of the amoeboid protozoan. Amoeba and Entamoeba histolytica are some examples of the sarcodines or the amoeboid protozoan. And Entamoeba histolytica is responsible for causing amoebic dysentery or amoebiasis in case of human beings. Sporozoans are the next type of the animal-like protist. All sporozoans are generally endoparasites, that means they live inside our body. They generally lack cilia and flagella as their locomotory organs. Their type of nutrition is totally parasitic, and the body is covered with a elastic pellicle or cuticle, and the mode of reproduction is through multiple fission. So these are some general diagnostic characters in case of the sporozoans. Now, a common example of sporozoan is Plasmodium vivax, which is the causative organism for malaria in human being. And in the diagram, you can see an infective cell of Plasmodium vivax. And the last group of animal-like protists are the ciliated protozoan. So cilia are used for locomotion and for driving food. As they possess cilia, that is the locomotory organ, or short locomotory organ, they are generally called as ciliates, and they are free living in freshwater and marine waters. The body is covered with pellicle. Nutrition is holozoic except in parasitic forms. They show nuclear dimorphism, that is macronucleus and micronucleus. Now this is a very diagnostic feature, important diagnostic feature in case of ciliated protozoan, where they possesses two types of nucleus. One is bigger one, which is called as macronucleus, and the another one is the smaller one, micronucleus. Generally, the micronucleus, it carries the genetic material as DNA, and the mode of reproduction is asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction takes place by binary fission or budding, and sexual reproduction is also reported in some type such as Paramecium, where they undergoes genetic recombination by the process of conjugation, as that was also seen in case of the bacteria. Now, the examples of ciliated protozoans are Paramecium, Opelina, Vorticella, etc. In the diagram, you can see the structure of a Paramecium body. So they have the outer cilia, which are short hair-like structures, and towards the inner part, the cellular structure, it consists of the two nucleus, that is the macronucleus and the micronucleus. And the presence of this macronucleus and the micronucleus, so that becomes a distinctive or diagnostic feature for this particular group of protozoan, that is the ciliated protozoan. So with this, we have come to the end of this class. I hope all of you have understood the content of today's class, and if you have any doubt, then be free to clarify your doubts. Thank you.